My mom once shared something with me when I was around 10 years old, a memory from when she herself was just a little girl, barely 4 or 5. Back then, she and my grandmother lived in a small trailer. Their beds were placed right next to a window, something my grandmother would later regret. One quiet weekday night, they both went to sleep as usual. Hours passed in silence. Then my mom woke up. She didn't know why, until she opened her eyes and saw him. A man stood outside her window, not moving, just staring straight at her. She described him as tall, with a heavy white beard and messy brown hair. His clothes were filthy, worn brown pants and a jacket that looked like it had never been washed. Terrified, she ran to Grandma's room and whispered, "There's someone outside my window, watching me." But Grandma thought she was imagining things. She sent her back to bed. When my mom returned, the man was gone. Just darkness. She crawled into Grandma's bed instead and stayed there until morning dot, when they came home later that day. Everything changed. The trailer looked normal. Except for one thing. My mom's window had been completely ripped out. Not broken, removed, as if someone had torn it clean from the wall. Nothing was stolen. No signs of forced entry anywhere else. Just the missing window. Grandma didn't hesitate. She packed their things within the hour and moved them in with her. Grandparents thought the strange man was never seen again. And even now, my mother still wonders what would have happened if she hadn't woken up that night. Story 2. The Shadow Who Sat Beside Me, rewritten. When I was 10, I lived in a tiny house where every room was connected. My 2 brothers shared one bedroom, while I slept with my mom and younger sister in the other. One night, around 3 a.m., I couldn't sleep. So I was quietly watching cartoons on our old TV. Volume low. That's when the door slowly creaked open. One of my brothers stood in the doorway. Or at least, that's who I thought it was. But even with the blue glow from the TV, I couldn't see his face. He was just a dark silhouette. He walked in without saying a word and sat on the edge of the bed beside me, staring at the TV, completely still. I tried talking to him. "Can't sleep? Want to watch something else?" But he didn't answer. He didn't even twitch, which was strange. My brother could never sit still. He was always fidgeting. After a few minutes, I needed to go to the bathroom. I slipped out quietly so I wouldn't wake my mom. On my way back, I passed my brother's room and froze. Both of them were sound asleep, curled up under the blanket together, breathing deeply. There was no way either of them had been in my room. My heart dropped. My whole body went cold. I ran back into our room. The spot on the bed where the figure sat was empty. Silent. And that's when I realized I never saw its face. I never heard it move. I never even knew if it was watching the TV or watching me. To this day, I don't want to know. Story 3. The Girl in the Dark Classroom, rewritten. This happened at my school, a place that looked completely normal from the outside. Bright halls, clean rooms, nothing unusual. But stories floated around every year. Rumors about strange things that happened long before I enrolled. One of them was about a thief who entered the school pretending to be a parent. People said he snatched earrings off a student's ears before running off. No one really knew if that was true, but it made everyone uneasy. One afternoon, after a long day of assignments, my friend Katie and I were walking down an empty hallway. No teachers, no students, just us. Halfway down the hall, I suddenly felt like someone was watching. I turned to look and noticed the door of a classroom nearby. Lights were off, door closed, but those doors had small windows you could peek through. I wish I hadn't looked. Inside, standing in the pitch-dark room, was a girl. Her skin was pale, almost gray, and dark streaks of blood ran from her ears down her neck. She wasn't moving, just staring at me. Katie asked what was wrong. but my voice wouldn't come out. I grabbed her hand and ran. When I finally told her what I saw, she went silent, then whispered something that made everything worse about the day before. Our teacher asked her to turn off the lights after class. I had already walked ahead. When she flipped the switch, she saw the exact same girl, standing in the darkness, blood dripping from her ears. Katie ran too, and she didn't tell anyone because she thought no one would believe her. We both saw her, on different days, in the same room. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if we stayed a few seconds longer.